Hello and welcome to Level Up with LEDVANCE. I'm Lynette Schaefer, Director of Training at LEDVANCE, and today I'm going to be giving you an overview of LEDVANCE's LED round and linear high bays and also low bays. By the way, the difference between a high bay and a low bay is basically your mounting height. Most people, general rule of thumb, a high bay is going to be above 20 feet, a low bay is going to be below 20 feet. So some people will say even 18, but it's kind of just a general rule of 20. So before we get into the products, I wanted to first explain the importance of an aisle distribution, which is usually achieved through an aisle lens versus a wide distribution, which is typically achieved using a wide lens. So first, a wide distribution is generally recommended for mounting heights of about 20 feet or less, and usually in open areas, while an aisle distribution is generally recommended for mounting heights greater than 20 feet or narrow corridors or aisles, say maybe a grocery store with an aisle, a retail store with an aisle, or a warehouse with pallet racking and rows and aisles. I think you kind of get the idea, right? In these applications, when you use an aisle distribution, the light is just distributed in a way that helps provide a more visually appealing area, allowing shoppers and also employees to see products and part numbers on packaging better than they would if you were to just use a wide distribution. So next, let's talk a little bit about reflectors and refractors. So first of all, we have a traditional UFO. Sometimes they call it a round high bay or a monopoint. These do a really great job, especially lighting 15 to 22 foot areas, which is pretty common out there because it already has the reflectors and the lenses and all that stuff built into it. So it's meant to push that light out onto the work surface. However, sometimes when you get above that 15 to 22 foot mounting height, you want to be able to direct your light downward. So in that case, you might want to incorporate a reflector. A reflector is obviously exactly that. It reflects the light downward and it really helps push the light down onto the work surface. These are never clear in nature, by the way, because obviously if it was clear, the light would just go straight out. So a reflector reflects the light, pushing it down onto the work surface. Really meant for 25 foot and higher mounting heights. Next one up, we have the refractor. And the refractor is used not only to send the light outward, but also a little upward and also downward. And it's really meant to avoid any kind of cave effect that you might get. So these are really nice in areas that you want to kind of light up the ceiling a little bit. And of course, these are going to be clear in nature, different from a reflector. All right. And then, of course, if you wanted to, you could always add a lens. Just keep in mind, if you do add a lens, you are going to reduce your lumen output, but it will really help with visual comfort. So just be aware of that. And of course, you can add that to either a reflector or a refractor if you choose to. So again, in summary, the difference between a reflector is that it reflects the light and pushes it downward, while a refractor is typically clear. It's meant to push the light outward and also upward and also a little bit downward too. So next, let's go ahead and get into some products. So here we have two linear high bays. They have a number of great things in common. First of all, they both feature the split lens, which is always kind of cool because it gives it a more modern look. They also come with the V-hook and 3-foot chain in the box, so you don't have to worry about mounting, accessories. If these will do the trick, you've got them in the box ready to go. They also have a polycarbonate lens, which I'll talk a little bit more about in just a second. They also have an optional wire guard. If you choose to protect that lens or need to protect that lens, you can choose to put a wire guard on there. There's also an option to pendant mount it. You just have to order this little bracket that goes on the back of the fixture. That's the pendant mount. Otherwise, you can also surface mount them, and that's what these brackets look like right here. So you have the option to mount this a couple of different ways. Also, what's really cool about these is they are controls ready, which means you can easily add controls to the luminaire without having to do any extra wiring. So basically what happens is it comes with this little cover right here for this receptacle. All you have to do is just unscrew it, and then you can easily take either your standalone microwave or PIR control solution and just screw it in. And now I just converted that to a standalone control. So easy. By the way, if you're using a wire guard, you can still use it with the sensor too. Just got to make sure you use it so that this spot right here is showing. You can see it's a little bit wider, but it does work just fine. Now, The other nice thing about both of these is that you can also add an EMBB. So just keep in mind though, it is a made to order product. So we will actually mount brackets on the back of the fixture, on the back of the luminaire. We will also mount the EMBB. We'll wire it all up for you as well. So you can probably imagine you cannot use an EMBB if you're going to surface or pendant mount it. All right. So what happens is that if that battery is going to be right in your way if you're pendant mounting it or surface mounting. Other MTO options, you can check out the spec sheet for that. But there's other options for a cord and a plug and some other things too. So what are the key differentiators between these two? Well, first of all, the 6A is available in a 1x1 as well as a 1x2. It also has an optional aisle lens. So again, if you have an aisleway that you're lighting up, you're going to want to go to the 6A so that you can get that aisle lens. It's also available in a fixed wattage and fixed CCT. On the other hand, the 5A features that dual selectability. It only comes in a 1x2. It also does not have the ability to add that aisle lens either. So just kind of keep in mind the difference between the two of those. So there's your lineup for your linear high/low bays. So next up is our round high bays, aka UFO. These two are both very similar, just like the other ones are very similar. So let me go through how these are very similar. So first of all, they are both NSF splash zone rated and IP65. They also have an optional refractor, reflector, lens, and also a wire guard. That wire guard attaches directly to the luminaire, by the way. That wire guard does not attach to the bottom of the lens. It can only attach to the luminaire. These are also available in either black or white housing. They come with a 6-foot power and dimming cord, as well as the hook, which makes installation way easier than an eye bolt because it provides more flexibility because you can easily hang it onto existing structures and have a little bit more flexibility. If this was a eye bolt, you wouldn't have nearly that type of flexibility. So this ships with both of these. Now, speaking of insulation, we also have added a box accessory. This is fairly new. This is what it looks like. And the reason that you would maybe want to have this box accessory is so that you can easily make the drop whatever you want it to be and do all your wiring up here. It also comes with all kinds of connectors and all kinds of stuff in the box. So this is called the box accessory that you can get if you want to. There's also an optional surface or pendant mount bracket. So let me go ahead and take off this. This is what that optional surface or pendant mount bracket looks like. And you can see on the side, you can actually make it so that you can actually make this sort of like a flood. Not that I would use it as a flood, but you could potentially, shine that light in the direction you want it to go because it is able to be adjusted to. But most people would typically, mount it straight down like that as a pendant or directly to the surface. Additionally, this is kind of a fun one. They do have a field installable EMBB, the old buoy, I call it, right? Because it looks like a buoy. So this is a field installable 40-watt emergency battery backup. It has an integral junction box. It does provide about 5,600 to 6,800 lumens. It's just basically based on the lumens per watt of the light output. So you'll want to just look at the spec sheet for that. And it does give you that 90 minutes of backup in case there is a power failure. So, and by the way, this also ships with a remote control for facilitating the testing of these units too. So the famous buoy. Also, like the linear high bays, these are also controls ready. I will talk a little bit more about that here in just a second, but both of them do have the ability to easily add network lighting controls or standalone controls. So now the question is how do they differ? Well, the 4A is slightly smaller with a few less lumens, but excellent lumens per watt, 170. Plus, it is also available in 120 to 347. It does also feature that fixed wattage and fixed CCT. The 3A, on the other hand, is offered only in 120 to 277 volts. It does go up to 150 lumens per watt, which is still very impressive. And it does also give you that dual selectability, giving you the most flexibility. So that is a lineup of our UFO high bay / low bay luminaires. Now, as I mentioned, these products are controls ready. And in order to add standalone control solution, you just unscrew the cover like I showed you. Then you can screw in a PIR or microwave standalone control solution. Just keep in mind, if you want to use a microwave sensor on any of these luminaires that I showed you, and they are chain mounted, any kind of sway in that luminaire can make that microwave sensor thinks it's sensing motion. So you're definitely going to want to use a PIR if you are going to use the provided chain mount. Standalone control solutions are pre-programmed at the factory, but those settings can also be changed via the independent remote, which is sold separately. Also, if you want to add network lighting controls, no problem whatsoever. Similarly, you unscrew your cover, and then you easily screw in the adapter that you need, as well as either the fixture controller or fixture controller with sensor, completely up to you. I usually like to connect the two together and then simply screw it into the receptacle. And now I just converted that fixture to a network lighting control solution. Now I can easily group luminaires. I can set my zones. I don't have to have any special wiring to do any of it. You can set your maximum brightness, also known as high-end trim. You can do some basic scheduling. You can customize the sensor. You can do all kinds of really awesome things within the app. And again, that app is free. It is available on iOS or Android. And again, this is known as LEDVANCE Link Network Lighting Control Solution. This is DLC approved, so you could potentially get higher incentives and also greater utility rebates. What an awesome way to add controls to your system, whether you're doing it on day one when you install them, or a few months or a year down the road. You can easily add those controls without having a contractor, without having to have anybody special to have to install them. Easily unscrew the cover, screw in your control solution, do a little bit of commissioning, and you're done. Couldn't make it more easier. And then also we have the optional wireless controller. Well, the newest UFO 5A launching this month is a super cool product. It is very much like the other two. It's very similar to the 3A and the 4A. However, the big difference is that the UFO 5A is available in 277 to 480 volt, while the others are not. Plus, this one is also TAA compliant, which can help assist with government purchases. And also what's amazing about this product is that it uses the exact same accessories that the other two do. So you don't have to worry about stocking additional accessories. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. So first of all, it is available in either black or white housing. It is UL certified, LC premium, NSF splash zone, which means it can't be used where there's open or exposed food, but it is splash zone rated. It is also IP65. It's NEMA 4X. As I mentioned, it's also TAA compliant. It meets FCC, RoHS, and is backed by the trusted warranty too. Now, this luminaire is ideal for many types of applications, including industrial spaces, gyms, big box retail stores, food storage, warehouse, even service repair shops as well. Now, the other thing that's pretty neat about this product is that it is controls ready. Now, I know you guys have heard me talk about controls ready, but just as a little quick reminder, controls ready means you can easily add standalone or network lighting controls without the need for any electrician, and you can add it whenever you want. There's no special wiring. You just bring regular power to the luminaire, and then you take your handy screwdriver and you unscrew the cover here. That exposes a little receptacle. This is a screw-in receptacle. So I can take a standalone control solution and simply screw it in. Or I could, if I wanted to, even take a network lighting control solution, LEDVANCE's Link. And I do need an adapter, but I can take the adapter, attach it to the Link device, and then simply screw it directly into the luminaire. And now I just created a product that is ready to go from a network lighting control perspective. And you can change it and modify it anytime you want, standalone or network lighting control. So it's a really, really cool feature from that perspective. Some other things that you should know about this product is that it is available in 2 wattage selectable options, either the S200 or the S320. It also is available in 2 voltages, 120 to 347, or 277 to 480. It is also 0 to 10 volt dimming. It has a CRI in the 80s. It also features CCT selectability. And then also it does, I was just looking for where that's at. I believe it's right underneath here. We'll find it together because I haven't opened this up yet. There's a little knockout right here on the side. And I bet if I unscrew this, if I can, I don't have quite the right screwdriver. We'll try it though. I bet I'm going to expose those little switches. And of course I did. They're right inside there. So that is the easy way to change the CCT or the wattage as well. What else? As I mentioned, it is available in black or white housing. And by the way, the CCT selectable options are 3,500, 4,000 or 5,000. Now the lumens do range as low as 15,000 and up to 48,000. And it has an impressive 150 lumens per watt. As I mentioned, there's also 2 sizes to choose from, and it performs very well all the way down to -40F and all the way up to 122F. There's also 6 kV of surge protection built in as well. Now, the other thing that I just want to talk about are some other cool features. One of them, as small and minor it might seem, it is pretty neat too, and that is a hook. Other manufacturers will ship with an eye bolt, and if you already have conduit or something there, it's really hard to take an eye bolt and try to get it into that conduit. So in order to have a eye bolt, it's really difficult. Ours though ships with this little hook, so it can accommodate a lot of different installations. And all it does is simply screws into the top of the luminaire and you're ready to go, okay? Now this is a really light luminaire too, which makes it simple to install because obviously it's not real heavy. It does also include 6-foot power cord and also the 3-foot dimming cord. This is also suitable for a number of applications, as I sort of mentioned on the previous slide. So you've got the IP65 rating, you've got the NSF splash zone rating, you've got the TAA listing. Again, that can be used on government projects. You've got the white or the black die-cast aluminum housing, the molded heat sink fins. And what that does, it ensures that the product is going to last a really long time too. Okay. And we can't forget the controls ready. I already talked a lot about that. In case I forgot to mention, the network lighting control solution that LEDVANCE has, known as Link, is also DLC approved, which is also pretty awesome. And again, you can go with either standalone controls or network lighting controls. Just remember, if you're selling standalone controls, don't forget to also recommend what remote they should also get. Network lighting controls, on the other hand, it just takes a free app, either Android or iOS. The other thing cool about this product is that it has a battery backup that you can get. I call it the buoy because it looks like a buoy. By the way, this is heavier than the luminaire is, this EMBB. But this is a 40-watt emergency battery backup. What happens is that it also screws, we'll see if this actually is going to make it or not. I'll see if I can get this done with one hand. We'll see how easy this really is. Yes. All right, here we go. So you screw it into the top of the luminaire, and then you can easily hang it. And then also it has a nice little remote that you can get with it, so you don't have to go all the way up to the luminaire to test the EMBB to make sure it's working. So really cool product, sold as a separate accessory. What are some of the other accessories? Well, we do have the surface or pendant mount bracket. We have this really neat junction box. And the reason the junction box is important is because it allows the contractor or the installer to make the drop wherever they want to, and whatever's required for the application. So it's just a really easy way to be able to have everything combined into that J box and have it a little bit easier of an install as well. Okay. As I mentioned earlier, we do have the polycarbonate lens, which would be something that you would actually attach to the polycarbonate refractor. And then, of course, we do have the aluminum reflector, and we also have a wire guard as well that you can also put on the luminaire directly as well, like so. Okay, so those are all the really cool accessories that are available. This is just the ordering guide in case you guys are interested in what the item code is. It's on here. Of course, you can also scan the little spec sheet, and that will also bring you to all the other information about the product as well. I want to thank you for attending this. For feedback on this presentation, which I always appreciate, you can scan the QR code on the left. And also to test your knowledge and obtain your certificate of completion, please scan the QR code on the right.